Hey y'all, welcome to the Share the Health podcast with your co-hosts, Amy, Kaitlyn, and Mariah.
This podcast is for women who feel frustrated by the failures of the traditional healthcare system and are looking for solutions.
We'll be diving into all things women's health, being a female business owner, and life as a woman. Now let's get into today's episode.
When was the last time that we cried?
I cried today.
Okay, cool. Mariah.
When was the last time you cried, Mariah?
Last week.
Yeah.
Like 3 days in a row, just felt it coming, just let it out.
And I was saying I cried like 5 times yesterday. I was trying to count all the times. I was like, oh yeah, in the car, when I woke up, like after I got home.
It just needs to be released, Doesn't need to be, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
A lot of people think that there's something wrong with crying, but nope.
Yeah, I love it. It felt like a great relief. I mean, it was horrible at the time, but it did feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
But I know that, all of us juggle like having a business and our personal lives, and it's really hard.
Yeah. I mean, it can definitely be overwhelming. I mean, even just this week coming back from Christmas, and I didn't travel, but having clients coming back from their travels, and then like I'm doing a jujitsu camp this week, so like juggling that, and then I had a coaching meeting yesterday. It's a lot. Like I thought this week was going to be relaxing, and then it's like, oh, we're just gonna throw ourselves right back in. Like, where's my sleep?
I know it's hard. And then Kaitlyn, obviously you have like 2 kids.
Yeah, so Christmas was like, I feel like I've been needing to be like super everything, like super mom and super business owner and super wife, and like especially with Christmas it was like super mom overload to like bring in the Christmas spirit, even though I'm overwhelmed with the rest of life and business ownership. So yeah, same thing, this like weird week in between Christmas and New Year's, I was hoping that I could like relax and get my life wrapped together before the new year. And then my husband's sick all week. And so then it's like I'm taking on more to help balance out because he's not feeling well. And like I feel like I'm constantly at a breaking point, and there's like no letting up.
Yeah, it's really hard. And maybe the holidays make it a little bit harder too.
I think so. I think the holidays, there's just this added pressure for like, I mean, people always say it's like the happiest season of the year, but it's like it's one of the most stressful seasons of the year. It's end of the year, people are throwing money out the window to make kids, family happy with presents and gatherings with family, friends, everything. It's such a stressful time of year, the last 2 months of each time.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder if there's a way to change that narrative, which I guess it would be kind of hard because family doesn't always fall in the same footsteps as what we want.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like for me, like I don't even think about, I mean, maybe it's because like I don't have kids yet, and I'm just like, well, it's just Christmas. Like, like we don't really do gifts with my family, and it's like not any different. Like we just go home, and, like we eat, and like that's kind of it. So I personally didn't really feel a difference, but I do feel it in that I feel it in our patients, and I can feel it kind of emanating onto us, like in not a good way. So
yeah, this was the most stressful Christmas, I feel like, because Charlie's almost 3, so she's like really understanding Christmas and is excited about like all the different holidays. Like things are just clicking. So we wanted to like go see lights, and there were other like traditions that we wanted to start, but it was like the days would fly by, and then I was like, oh, we like never got around to like making a gingerbread house or decorating Christmas cookies and like things that we want to do, and it is fun, and we were able to do some of the things, but yeah, it's that pressure of like we need to do all of these things and make all these memories, but it's like in such a short period of time, I'm like, why can't I make January cookies?
Yeah. No,
Like, yeah, I think that we really uh need to take some of the pressure off of ourselves, and like everybody's feeling it. Everyone that I talk to is feeling the same way. So it's like they're not putting, other people aren't putting pressure on me. It's just me putting pressure on myself.
yeah. Yeah. It's hard. Um, yeah. And I like for me yesterday in particular, I don't know if you guys ever feel this way, but I like to relate to like what I'm feeling with like something else. Like I feel like I was in like a boxing ring and someone's like punching me and I'm like getting up from it and then I get another punch and like you get up and you're like, okay, like what's next? Um, but it kind of puts you in a state of like your sympathetic nervous system is like really heightened and you're just like really stressed, because and anxious. Like I woke up at 7 a.m. being like just immediately like anxious for good reason because I woke up to an anxious message that I had to take care of. So I don't know if like my gut was like, wake up. But yeah, it's really hard to calm like the nervous system down.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been like our newborn. She's over 3 months. I guess she's just an infant now. But she'll wake up obviously in the middle of the night to eat. And so if it's anytime after like 3 o'clock in the morning, I have such a hard time getting back to sleep because like my brain is just starting to go for the day. But I'm like, I can't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and then just like expect myself to function all day. But sometimes I do because I can't shut it off and go back to sleep.
That's been me this entire week. I don't know if it's like something, a stressor in my life, or just maybe the full moon, if we believe in that. I don't know.
It was a full moon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But all week I've been waking up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then just toss and turn until my alarm goes off. And then I am a zombie the entire day. I'm like, can we stop with this? Just get our good 7 hours of sleep, please.
Yes. Usually when patients tell me that they're waking up at that time, it's usually a sign of blood sugar imbalances.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I notice it like if I have like more sweets in the evening,
Yeah.
then I will wake up around that time.
Huh.
And then it tends to be harder to get back to sleep.
Mhm. Interesting.
That's cool. I'm drinking my adrenal cocktail right now.
Nice. Good job.
Thanks.
That's great for stress management.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I'm very stressed, according to my labs.
I made the mistake yesterday of getting a second coffee at 2 p.m.
Mm.
Granted, it was a half cap, but in my meeting with Holly for the business coaching, I was so anxious. I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, you're like,
Oh my
like,
God.
same thing this morning. I was like, I should not have coffee past 2 p.m., even if it's decaf. Bad mistake on my end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
I remember people saying that all the time. I can't have coffee past like a certain time, and I was like, I don't get
yeah.
that. And then one day, it just hit me, and I like realized I was like awake at one night, and I was like, I cannot go to bed. And I was like, oh my gosh, caffeine is starting to affect me like that.
Yep.
Yep. And the like anxiousness too.
Yeah.
But then sometimes we do it and we're like, it's so like self-detrimental.
So, real talk, how do you guys manage your anxiety?
What's funny is I was just talking to my therapist how like I've had so many people tell me I have anxiety and I've never like resonated with it before. I was like, I don't have anxiety. And she was like, oh, well, it's like high performance anxiety. And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And that feels so true.
She's like, this is what it really means when people say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't get like anxious in like I was thinking about like social situations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, like I've kind of gotten through that and I feel fine in social situations, but it's that like I need to, it's like the type A, like I need to perform at 100% all the time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like anxious if I'm not doing something productive.
Yeah. Yes, that's me today. I had like a plan to like go to some doctor offices. But I woke up and I was like, I have so many like things I need to do, and I don't know if that can happen. And now I feel really guilty that I'm not doing that, you know?
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, so I feel like how I manage that anxiety is by like I spent all day yesterday just like organizing myself and all of the things that I need to do and basically putting together like a gazillion different to-do lists. So it helps me feel better, but the problem is I'm not always great at like actually then following through with all of those to-do lists and staying on top of things. So then I just feel overwhelmed again.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, typically I feel like my anxiety comes from sitting around too much and like distracting myself. Um, so then I like will force myself to go out for a walk with Maisie or go do a quick workout before I sit down and focus on any work. Um, or sit and read. I hate sitting and doing nothing in the middle of the day, but I'm like, just focus on one thing. If that's reading for 10, 20 minutes to like figure it out, that's fine.
Yeah, so like movement
Mhm.
slash also just like sit, like allow yourself to like
Yeah.
make a plan and be okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll also like rage clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll just like I'll blast music so like I start to like feel better and I'll clean because like when my space is a disaster, it's hard to focus.
Yes,
I feel like my space is always disastrous.
I love cleaning. It's so, and like organizing, so fun.
Mhm.
I have to like have like the perfect mood strike for that.
hmm But I also like can't function. Like if my
Mhm.
space is like really cluttered, I can't function in it. I can't like get anything
Yeah.
done. It's so cluttered.
Mhm.
Like last night I got home and was definitely feeling anxious because I put our guest bedroom back together because everything was stripped out of there. So put that back together when I got home. Was like doing laundry, doing dishes. I'm like, I just need to be moving right now, even though I should be getting ready for bed and like relaxing the rest of the night.
Yeah,
So
it's so hard. Something that I started doing, because like I would make a ton of to-do lists also, and but then the to-do list would be on sticky note on my phone, on my computer, like everywhere. You can see a lot of sticky notes behind me. Um, like, everywhere. And so what I finally started doing, I had heard people, they were like, make a list of like 3 things to accomplish for the day to make it more like achievable. And I was like, yeah, like a year. And then I finally started doing that on like a little thing because I have my calendar, but my calendar isn't great for like crossing things off. So I made a separate like document where it's like Monday through Friday and I have my top 3 things and I just like have it there and then kind of like a general schedule and I will cross it off from that and that feels really good for me. And that's helped a little bit, but I don't know how to help the general anxiety of being worried that something's going to always go wrong in business, but at least for the day to day, I think that strategy has helped me.
I started journaling, and it was something that I did quite a few years ago. Like before I moved here, I had a therapist. She recommended that I start journaling, and it was really helpful for just like processing my feelings. And then I felt like, oh, well, I'm better now. Like you solved all my problems. I'm fine. So I stopped journaling. Obviously, she did not solve all my problems. So I started journaling again and just like getting it out of my brain has helped because otherwise I just kind of like ruminate on the same thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, so I've only been doing it for maybe a week, but it's been really helpful.
Is it like an everyday thing?
Yeah, I personally do it at night before I go to bed because that's when I feel like the kids are asleep, the house is quiet. Um, and I can just like have some time to myself in the morning, I'm immediately like, go, go, go. Here's all of like my to-do list bouncing around my brain. So I've never been able to do it in the morning. So it helps to do it at night. And then I feel like I get those thoughts out of my brain before I go to sleep, which helps me sleep better, or at least fall asleep better.
I'll try that.
Yeah, but my word for 2024 is embrace. Where I'm trying to just like embrace the stage that I'm in, because having a toddler and a baby who won't take a bottle and needs me to sustain her life while growing a business is really challenging, but I'm trying not to be like frustrated by that and just embracing the chaos. So I felt like that was a good thing to just like kind of like accept, whatever's happening that day.
Yeah, no, and like a lot of our patients who are moms, like that's kind of what we tell people too. Like we're just like, it's the stage and it's not forever.
Yep. Which is it's kind of hard to accept that when you're in it. Like you don't feel like it's ever gonna end. I feel like that was the hardest thing with one kid, was like you never know how long a stage is going to last. So it's a little bit easier the second time because you're like, okay, they're only in this age for so long, and then it'll switch to some other challenge.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's like right when you think you got it, like the new thing happens.
Yes.
Which I feel like can be said for like obviously for like parenting. But also like in business, I feel like once you like are like, oh, I figured this out, and then it's like, oh, well, here's another thing.
I feel like that is the case with social media. Because it's like, okay, like this is really popular right now, and now reels are really popular, and now it's going back to this. I'm like, can I just like please catch up and be with it for a little bit?
Yeah, that's true too. It's always changing. But
Yep.
I like don't even worry about it. I just like continue doing what we've been doing, even if I guess sometimes it's not working as well, but
Yeah. I mean, even as long as you're posting, getting that attention, that's all that really matters.
yeah, exactly. So
Consistency, like you said earlier, that's your
yes, yeah, my word is consistency. So we got embrace, consistency. Mariah, what's your word?
honestly, it would probably either be consistency or acceptance of things that I can't control.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, as far as consistency is like being consistent with that social media, that networking and outreach to get new clients, or just connecting with a bigger community. And like right now, we're kind of starting to look into getting a bigger space. But I'm also looking for a new place to move into for a living situation. So I'm like, I need to focus on what I'm able to control right now, and what I can't control, I need to put off to the side and not put my time and energy into it until that time is necessary. So like looking for a bigger studio space, it's not a top priority, whereas living situation is top priority. So I'm like, let's focus on that, figure out what we can control in that situation, and then move on to the next thing when we can, instead of trying to do all the things at once.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a hard thing with like having your own business. And I mean, like it would also happen when I had a job, but it just like things felt more separate when it was like I would go to work and then I would leave work and then I would go home. And because I feel like business and life when you're a business owner are so like interwoven.
Right, there's such a gray line or a
Yes.
blurry line there. It's hard
Yeah.
not to bring it home.
Right. And then sometimes you have to like have your business not take like a full-on backseat, but like I mean, I definitely had to shift things around in my business. Like my
Yeah.
business is changing based off of my personal life. And then, vice versa, when things in your life settle down, I'm sure, Amy, after you got married, you were like, oh, I can like open up my brain to more business things again. And there's a lot more of that like balancing act rather than, just a division.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like when I was working for somebody else, it was just like go to work, come back, and then it was just like that was it. It was like very, the line was really clear. But yeah, now it's like there is no line.
Nope.
So
And it's a catch-22. Like I'm grateful that I started my business so that I could have more of that like flexibility with my family. But then obviously like there's not as good of that like division of work-life responsibilities. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think especially with how new all of our businesses are, I mean, we're still under 5 years for all of us, right? I think with how new they still are, it's going to have a lot more stress, roadblocks, having business and personal life combined together versus like in however many years when we can finally be working on our business versus working in it and on it at the same time, then we can kind of take that step back and separate it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's hopefully like I think that's what a lot of us want is to not always be working in it, but at least be able to have some mind space to like work on it, and not want to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Like
Have you guys had moments of wanting to throw in the towel at all?
Yesterday.
Oh, Amy.
I was like, can I just stop this? Like,
Oh, no.
I just like stopped. But there's a little more pressure now when you have employees and you're like, well, if I just stop.
I mean, you could just sell it to one of them, be like, here's all the tools, have fun.
Yeah, it's yours now. You know what? I just went out. But I do try to remember, like, it has been very rewarding and it's been good, even though sometimes you want to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Like there's days where I'm like, what? Like it's very frustrating, but I haven't gotten to a point where I'm like, screw this, like I'm done. But it's at the same time I'm sitting there like, how much easier would my life be if I was just working for someone else? But then I go back to my life, I wouldn't be able to bring my dog to work. I wouldn't be able to have the freedom of creating my own schedule, working with who I want to work with, making the connections that I want to be working or making and everything. So I would much rather have the freedom that comes with having my own business versus the restriction of working for someone else. Even though sometimes owning a business, it feels like you're very restricted in what you're doing. But that's created by yourself. So
Your boss, aka you.
yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've gone like full blown into like throwing in the towel, but I have felt like I have this wonderful dream of like what I want it to be, which is bigger than where I'm at right now. And I'm like, why am I wanting such this big thing? Like, why can't I just accept something simple where like it's just me and I'm doing everything and I'm not having to like hire people to do other things because it's not like just the stress of having another employee that you're then having to pay, and so you need enough people coming in to then pay them. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
It's basically like raising a family, just with people that aren't.
Yes.
Like, gotta make sure that they're able to feed themselves and take care of themselves as well. And also be putting out good services for other people and making sure employees and clients or patients are happy. It's a lot of emotional ass kicking essentially.
Yeah. It's like I feel like my ass is being kicked, but then we're also trying to kick ass ourselves. So
Right. Yeah, who's gonna win the fight, Amy?
I don't know.
It's gonna be you.
Hopefully.
It's gonna be you and the girls that work with you. You're not gonna let it kick your ass. So
Right. You're right. Okay.
It
We
might
may
knock you
feel it every
down.
once in a while, but at the end of the day, we're all gonna kick ass.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
all gonna stand back up when we get knocked down.
every time. Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, we got this.
we
And I
do.
mean, if we're down, we've got each other. So to help pick each other back up.
You're like, help.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, to end on like a positive note, I feel like I have gathered some great strategies from you guys that I'm gonna try doing for like my anxiety. I'm gonna start journaling. I actually already went on Amazon and like found a journal. So
It
While
helps
we
for
were
sure.
talking,
uh-huh.
oh my gosh.
Something that I do, like it's not journaling to the extent that like Kaitlyn does, but every night I'll write like a daily positive or 2 or 3 things from the day just to like help remind me of like may have had a real crappy day, but where was the positive that came from it? Just to kind of have that, go to bed with that positive mindset. And not feel so defeated at the end of the day.
Okay, I like that too. I'll try that as well. Like add it to my little nightly journal that I'll start doing.
I like that. I think I'm gonna start with the like, here are the 3 things that I need to accomplish for the day so that I can feel like, okay, I actually did get something done.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always nice seeing the cross off things. Even if I haven't written it down, but I'm doing it, I will write it down so I can cross it off.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is a journey, but at least we have each other.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. High fives.
High fives.